It's Tuesday, the 27th of June, 2023. Welcome to the Fast Five by Fear and Greed, where we give you the top 5 business stories you need to know in just 5 minutes. I'm Michael Thompson, and good morning, Sean Aylmer.
Good morning, Michael.
Sean, 5 stories, 5 minutes. Let's jump straight into story number 1. Australia is part of a renewed global effort to help Ukraine in the wake of the aborted coup in Russia that's left that country's president, Vladimir Putin, weakened.
Australia will send another 70 armoured vehicles to Ukraine as part of a $110 million package. Cabinet agreed to the deal at the same time. Yesterday, the High Court tossed out a bid by Russia to stop the government from seizing land earmarked for a new embassy in Canberra. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese said the military package was not related to the events in Russia over the past few days. While it includes armoured personnel, carriers and trucks, it doesn't include the Hawkeye armoured vehicles Kyiv had campaigned for or the retired FA-18 fighter jets. It takes the total aid from Australia to Ukraine since last February's invasion to just short of $800 million. And just on that High Court decision, a Russian diplomat who has been squatting on the cancelled embassy site for a few days yesterday left the premises.
Sean, what is the latest out of Russia? It seems kind of almost eerily quiet given the enormity of the weekend's events.
Yes, so just to recap, one of Putin's most effective military commanders, mercenary boss Yevgeny Prigozhin, launched a coup against Putin. It lasted 24 hours, but in that period, he called on the military to support him and managed to march 25,000 troops to within 200 kilometres of Moscow. While a truce was negotiated, the coup did a couple of things. It publicly questioned the justification for Putin's invasion of Ukraine. It also managed to capture a couple of Russian cities without a shot being fired. The consensus is that Putin's leadership is wounded, possibly fatally. His aura of total political control has pretty much been shattered. He isn't saying anything, but certainly there's a lot of volatility in financial markets and a lot of debate outside Russia about what happens now.
Okay, on to story number 2 now, Sean. An ASX-listed Silk Lasers share price jumped 18% yesterday after Wesfarmers upped its offer and won the backing of the company's board.
In March last year, Wesfarmers bought Australian Pharmaceutical Industries, which was a wholesale medicine provider and owned the Priceline pharmacy chain, as well as one of the 2 big retail laser clinics in the country called Clear Skincare Products. Now API has moved on the rival, Silk Laser. API initially bid $3.15 a share. It was beaten by a Hong Kong group. They offered $3.35 a share. API has now matched that in an all-cash offer. It values Silk Laser at $178 million. The Silk Laser board likes it, suggested shareholders accept it.
All right, on to story number 3. One company to have a pretty tough day yesterday was Tasmanian-based Lark Distilling. Its share price tumbled 17% after the whiskey maker said it faced a more challenging trading environment.
Yes, consumer confidence is down and that's hurting, according to CEO Satya Sharma. Lark is essentially a high-end whiskey maker. It's seen a drop in sales in recent weeks. Sharma only started at the beginning of last month. He's been quick to restructure the group. It's meant write-offs of obsolete goods and gift baskets and dropping some trials in the gin and ready-to-drink alcohol segments. You might remember this company, Michael, most for the sudden resignation of its former boss, Jeff Bainbridge, who left the business just before a video circulated of him in his underwear smoking crystal methamphetamine. Mr. Bainbridge claimed he was a victim of an extortion case.
Story number 4, New Zealand Prime Minister Chris Hipkins on the weekend flew to China for trade talks, taking a business delegation with him. But Sean, he took 2 planes in case one breaks down.
It sounds silly, but New Zealand Prime Ministers have a history of travelling overseas and having their plane break down. Hipkins flew in a Royal New Zealand Air Force Boeing 757. A second 757 accompanied the first, at least as far as Manila in the Philippines, acting as a backup. Now, the 757s are around 30 years old. They're nearing the end of their economic lives. That's according to the Prime Minister's department. Notwithstanding criticism within New Zealand, it isn't that surprising that he did it. Last year, then Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern got stuck on Antarctica when her Air Force C-130 transport plane broke down. She had to be flown home by an Italian aircraft. When Ardern visited Joe Biden in the US last year, her Boeing broke down in Washington. She had to fly home on a commercial flight. Also last year, the Defence Minister and a 30-strong delegation got stuck on the Solomon Islands a few years back. Then Prime Minister John Key was stuck in Townsville. Bit of a history of it, Michael.
Yeah, seems to be. Last one, story number 5. A Danish drug giant, Novo Nordisk, said a late-stage trial found that a high-dose oral version of its drug semaglutide, I believe that's the right pronunciation, Sean, helped overweight or obese adults lose 15% of their body weight.
Yeah, it's very exciting in the medical world. Novo plans to seek US and European regulatory approval of the high-dose pill later this year. Timing of market launch is still to be determined. The drug, designed to activate hormones that regulate blood sugar, slow stomach emptying and decrease appetite, is part of a new class of drug that has reignited research and investor interest in the weight loss treatment market. It's worth about it's expected to be worth about $100 billion by the end of the decade. Novo already markets an oral semaglutide, but its highest dose is 14 milligrams. This one, adults were trying 50 milligrams, showed that the average weight loss was 15% after 68 weeks.
All right, there we go. The top 5 business stories in 5 minutes. Thank you very much, Sean.
Thank you, Michael.
It's Tuesday, the 27th of June, 2023. Remember to hit follow on the podcast. And if 5 minutes isn't enough, you can find our longer daily show called Fear and Greed wherever you listen to podcasts. I'm Michael Thompson, and that was the Fast 5 by Fear and Greed. Have a great day.